So there are so many spiritual awakenings going on the planet right now. Left and right, people are seeming to be waking up, trying to make sense of everything that's going on. But do we really know why this is happening? What is the phenomenon that is actually creating all of these mass awakenings occurring on the planet? Well, I want to help you guys make a little bit more sense of this as to what's going on out in space, what's the astronomy behind it. So stay tuned if you're interested to find out. Hey guys, so my name's Yelena if we've never met before, and I am a spiritual awakening coach for empaths, starseeds, lightworkers, energy sensitives who are newly awakening or have been awakened and they are just trying to make sense of everything. And I am also an astrologer, an intuitive astrologer. So if you are interested in working directly with me, you can find links to do so below. And this video, we're going to be talking all about why the heck these awakenings are even happening anyways. So why are people waking up? We kind of maybe have been doing research on what an awakening is. There's so many videos out there about symptoms and signs and how we can deal with them. But there's really not a whole lot going on as to why this is specifically happening. Now, you may have heard that the vibration is raising on the planet. That's a pretty common thing to be going around, or our vibes raising or whatever, but nobody seems to really have any exact explanation. Now, I wanted to share a little bit about my experience. So I've been awakened for going on 5 years now. And when I first had my awakening, I was moving down to Florida. And I went into a Salvation Army and I was really getting into buying like all kinds of spiritual books and doing a ton of research. So I went to the Salvation Army. I don't know why I felt called to go to the book section and kind of pick some stuff up here, but I was really drawn to a specific book by a lady that I later found out years later was also an astrologer. Her name is Barbara Hand Clow, and it was a book called the Pleiadian Agenda. And it was all about the Pleiades star system. So I want to break down the astronomy that I learned about what is the heck is going on out in the galaxy, where is the Earth and where is our solar system moving right now out in space that could possibly be causing these mass awakenings to happen. So our specific solar system, it moves through what are called the constellations, the 12 constellations. And this has relevance to the astrology zodiac. There are 12 constellations, which are the 12 zodiac signs, right? Aries through Pisces. And our solar system moves through all 12 of these constellations, zodiac signs, in 26,000 years. So it is a 26,000 year cycle. Now, if we reduce that, they're reduced into what's called the ages. And I'm sure you've heard of this. We are moving into what's called the Age of Aquarius. We don't know the exact date of when that begins, but starting to feel like we're definitely entering it. And so we're entering into the Age of Aquarius. And these ages, we've got 12 of them that we cycle through. They are broken down into 2,200 year periods each, roughly, okay? Now, astronomers, other researchers have indicated that as we move through certain areas of the solar system, through some of these constellations, we experience very disruptive and very interesting fluctuations that are periodic and cyclical. And we are definitely going through a major one right now. Now, one is in the middle of the galaxy, and it is a black hole that actually really messes with the gravitational forces on the planet, and it actually diminishes the electromagnetic fields that surround the Earth and other planetary bodies that are in our solar system. So the Earth is not the only thing that's going through this, right? So everything that's going on with the planets is also happening to the humans down here as well, which we'll get into in a moment. So just stick with me because I promise it's going to get more interesting. We just have to learn the astronomy of it first. So moving through this black hole, it really disturbs the gravity and it causes what's called the pole shift on the planet, which is what we're experiencing. Scientists are proving that the poles are shifting once again on the planet. This can cause all kinds of things from weather disruptions, and it also creates an expansion of consciousness on the planet. We're going to break this down a little bit further. Please stick with me here. There's an area of the universe referred to as the Photon Belt. Now, our solar system passes through this Photon Belt 2 times in this 26,000 year cycle. So I want to break down this cycle into 4 parts for you. So the 26,000 year cycle consists of 2 periods of darkness. Each one of those periods lasts 11,000 years, long periods of darkness that we are coming out of right now, one of them. And those periods of darkness are separated by 2 periods of light, complete light. And that is the Photon Belt. And those periods are said to last roughly 2,000 years each. So I'm unsure completely when we entered the Photon Belt. A lot of research that I've done shows that it was back in 2012 at the end of the Mayan calendar, and that we are now entering a totally different period of light, which would serve to be a very profound explanation as to why a lot of these mysterious spiritual awakenings and crazy occurrences and disturbances are occurring on the planet. So the photon belt consists of highly charged ionic particles. Photon particles, photon light particles, are one of the highest forms of energy that exist. And that is what is coming down onto this planet because of the diminishment of the electromagnetic field. So it's actually making contact not only with our Earth, but us humans down here too. There are raised vibrational frequencies because of this hitting our planet. And this is actually something that scientists are currently measuring. You can do some research on it yourself. You can see they measure it every single day, and they're keeping track of all these spikes in vibrational frequencies that we're experiencing here on this Earth, and it's called the Schumann Resonance. Now, what's even more interesting about this is there are some studies. There was channeled information that people were receiving from back in the 60s, all the way up until now, and there's a lot of information saying that what was once called junk DNA, which are the 12 inactive strands of DNA that every single human being has. And I remember learning about this in like biology class or anatomy class, that we have what's called junk DNA. Well, it's really hard for me to believe that we were actually born with strands of DNA that don't mean anything, that are junk, that are just sitting there for no apparent reason. And this makes complete sense because it's stating that the photonic light energies are actually activating these junk DNA strands within the body. And each of the 12 strands represent a different aspect of our multidimensional consciousness. So I'm not sure how much all of you know regarding the Great Awakening, but it is said that we decided to come here to Earth. This is Earth school, right? For some reason, to assist in the aid of the transformation of this planet and to play certain roles, and that we all have missions if we are waking up at this time, right? So with that said, we've descended from a higher consciousness level into this lower consciousness life. And our memory was wiped when we came here, and we forgot everything, because what good of an experience would it be on the planet if we remembered who we were really at our multidimensional level, and we remembered why we came here and what lessons we were planning on learning? Then what would the point of it be, right? It would just be a totally stupid experience where we already know what's going to happen and there's really nothing beneficial. So our memory was wiped clean. So now that this is happening, it is the time for everyone to kind of wake up on the planet, and for this transition of humanity to be experienced, and for the planet to go through its transition, as well as all the other planetary bodies that are currently moving through this part of the solar system with us. So we are not the only ones going through this major upgrade, this major transition. But it is activating what I like to call our multidimensional blueprint, which is that version of ourselves that exists way beyond this plane, way beyond time and space, and many, many different realms and dimensions of existence. It's really helping us to work through a lot of our conditioning, bring up a lot of the shadow and a lot of the trauma that we experience here in this lifetime, so that we can wipe it clean, step into our authenticity, and really step into our purpose and our mission here on this planet. And this is happening to all of humanity. That's why when you hear me say this, you're like, yeah, wait, but it looks like humanity's just gone to hell. Looks like it's the end of the world. Everybody's evil. There's crazy stuff happening. Well, let me give you a little bit of an analogy here. I think this is a great metaphor to explain it. And I read this in one of the research papers I was studying. So it was talking about now we've got all this photonic light coming down onto the planet. And if you think about a dark room, a dark, dusty, dirty room when light hits it, try to imagine that in your mind right now. So when light hits a dusty room, you'll see all the dust and the dirt kind of raising up into the air, right? And you can see how dirty and dingy the room is, and the light really illuminates it. So if you are the owner of that room, that house, whatever it is, what is your first instinct? To clean it. You're like, oh my gosh, look at this. Now that it's become visible, it's like, what is all this? I sure have a mess to clean up, right? And that is a great metaphor for exactly what's going on in this planet. And that explains a lot of the darkness. There's so much stuff coming to the surface, like all the darkness with things like Jeffrey Epstein and all of the Me Too movement and just everything that's going on with the government. And not to mention, everything that's going on in the world stage, but imagine what's going on in our personal lives. So many people's lives are in upheaval. They've got shadow coming up. They're being forced to work through a lot of their traumas. So it's all the darkness, all of the things that we've repressed for so long being brought up to the surface for us to work through, for us to clean off, if you will, and transcend so that we can step into our power and become those beings that we are truly meant to be in this lifetime. Now, we do have free will, right? Which is our ability to do whatever we want in every moment. We're not forced into this. We're not made to do this. But, a lot of people will end up not going through with it or not end up waking up. And that is what their soul chose to probably do in this lifetime. But those of us that are on this path will probably resonate with everything that I'm saying very deeply. And there is a specific reason behind that, because you have a mission, you have a purpose on this planet, and it's time for you to step on it. So what a lot of this is doing is it's activating innate gifts and talents that we hold within us. We're really able to step into versions of ourselves that we totally forgot about, that are brand new to us, and we're starting to learn and remember. Big expanded states of creative self-expression, and we're developing psychic gifts that we didn't realize that we had, and expanded neural networks, expanded consciousness. We're starting to get knowledge that we don't even know where it came from. One thing you need to know about light. Light is not just something that we see because of, that's shined on the darkness so that we can see. Light, even that comes from all the different suns and everything, it contains knowledge. So it's giving us some type of upgrade. It's upgrading our system. Our DNA is activating, and we're receiving downloads of information, right? So there's so many things that are happening now beyond our conscious awareness of what's really going on. We might be experiencing crazy things, but we couldn't actually make sense of it, right? So I hope that this information was just a little bit of the puzzle pieces for you to help you make sense of what the heck is really going on right now. Hope it wasn't too dense and I explained it in a practical way for you. But if you are wanting to discuss any of this further, please contact me. You can book your free discovery session with me below. And this is just a little session where we can get to know each other and see if we would be good working together. And I'll explain how my programs and my packages work at that point. And if you're looking on maybe just getting some type of astrological reading, once again, I am an intuitive astrologer and I use numerology as an overlap in my practice as well. This can really give you an opportunity to understand yourself on a deeper level and understand the energies that are coming in at every moment of your life so that you can best work with them to your highest level of consciousness and help yourself flow, accept, and surrender the things that are coming into your life at that moment. But if you guys benefited from this content, please hit that subscribe button below. I'm doing all kinds of content, astrology, spiritual awakening, spirituality, and videos on how to heal yourself. So what better thing for anybody going through an awakening? Thank you guys so very much. Leave me a comment. I would love to know if there's any other videos you guys would like me to make, if any other information you want to learn about this kind of stuff. I know you're eager. I was a seeker for a super long time too. So you guys let me know in the comment box below. Thank you so much. I love having you guys as part of this community. Peace and namaste until the next video.